Mixing and installation instructions for one kit of Indue-Crete MT. So we picked out a spot back in our warehouse to show you how to install this kit of Indue-Crete. And first I just want to go over some of the very basics of prep. The goal when you're installing a coating is to have it clean, dry, and at room temperature. If you have any loose coatings, that's going to have to be removed probably by jackhammer. If it's solid, like it is here, you can grind right over the surface as is. So we'll start out by chalking the area, and then we use a crack saw with a 1/4 inch wide blade set to a 1/2 inch deep. We run this along the chalked areas and along the drain. We'll take a grinder and start prepping the surface. And an important part of this is beveling to the outside edge and down to the drain. There's two reasons why we do this. One is for smooth transition between the old coating and the new coating. The second reason is that it provides just a little extra thickness there at these spots that they receive the most abuse by forklift traffic. So we finish up grinding this area. We'll do a little bit of details in the corners, get that all cleaned up. Then we'll take a vacuum up the area. You'll notice here there's a deep hole. You're going to have to address that if you have anything deeper than around 3/4 inch. I'll show you in future videos on how to do that with some quick setting material. You'll also want to note if you have a joint that goes through there on the outside of your patch where that begins and ends, so that you can come back later and cut it out and fill up the joint. Here's our mix area. A couple of basic tools that you'll need include a 1/2 inch drill, trowel, clean 5-gallon pail, some solvent and some rags. A couple other things you'll note in the video, and this is an optional piece of equipment, and that's a spike roller. But a necessary piece of equipment is the blue nylon loop roller, and you'll see this in the installation coming up here in a minute. Before you start mixing, one other thing to get ready is the color quartz that you'll be broadcasting onto the surface of Indue-Crete. Here's how one kit of Indue-Crete is boxed up. You'll get 80 ounces of pre-tinted Part A in a 1-gallon container, 60 ounces of Part B in a 1/2-gallon container, and then the Part C is a 50-pound bag of aggregate. Okay, let's mix up a kit. First, take the Part A and shake it vigorously for about 30 seconds. Open it up, take out the foil and pour it into a clean 5-gallon pail. Next, you'll open up the Part B, take its foil off and pour into the pail. Take your 1/2 inch drill and mix that thoroughly for 30 seconds. When that's done, slowly add the Part C bag into the pail and mix thoroughly for 1 minute. Grab the pail and get out onto the spot that you're going to coat. Pour a bead along the far side and just start troweling. This takes a little bit of getting used to, a little bit of time to get the touch. But here you'll be able to see, you can see the material going right down to the drain and kind of floating into that beveled edge. After a while, you'll be able to tell whether or not you're too thick or too thin with the material. If you're scraping rocks, it's too thin. If you're pushing what seems like pools of material around, and later on when you're loop rolling and it seems like it's pushing the material around and material is getting caught up in the loop roller, it's probably too thick. Remember, one kit covers approximately 18 square feet, and that's just on average. This is a fairly smooth surface here, so you're going to get more, probably in the lower to mid 20 square feet per kit, and this is all at 1/4 inch thick. When you have about 4 to 5 feet out in front of you, that's when you grab the loop roller. Here you're going to see the spike roller that's not necessary. And what these tools do is, and you can see it in action here, these take out trowel marks and bring liquids to the top. When you're using these, you want to go straight back and forth. You don't want to turn these while you're on the material. That'll leave divots. Here you can see the spike roller going back and forth, and then it's immediately followed up with the loop roller. Using the loop roller will have the same effect. Again, straight back and forth, nice even pace. We'll mix up a little more material to finish off this area. Continue the loop rolling. You'll want to start broadcasting aggregate onto it probably within about 20 minutes after putting it down. And here we're grabbing the color quartz and broadcasting onto the surface after it's all troweled and loop rolled out. One thing I should have mentioned earlier is we should have covered the drain with cardboard to prevent aggregate going down into the drain. We broadcast this to excess, so you don't want to see any wet spots. Another point to make is you don't want to throw it down into the material hard. That will leave ridges. After you're done broadcasting, check back on it about 10 to 15 minutes later to see if any wet spots show up and rebroadcast over those wet spots. Now you'll let this cure, come back, minimum probably about 4 hours later at room temperature. You can probably brush this off. This was left overnight. So you can leave this surface as is. If you're going to get heavy traffic or chemicals on it, I would give it a full 12-hour cure before you do that. Keep in mind when you're sweeping that if the aggregate is dry, you can keep it and save it for later. If it's wet, you're going to have to throw it away. If you'd like to see one of our other how-to videos, click on one of these links or give us a call at 1-800-577-6213 or check us out at Indue.com.